Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about my picks for my favorite Valentine's Day horror movies. So this is going to be a pretty short list. I've only got 4 on here, and they're honestly probably the most common ones, but they are the ones that I have a lot of fun with, and they're just a joy for me to watch whenever I put them on. But I do want to know your thoughts on Valentine's horror down in the comments. Please let me know of any different Valentine's Day horror movies that I did not put on this list that you think are worth checking out. The first one that I want to talk about is the original My Bloody Valentine. And I have to say, this one has taken a while for me to come around to. I think that sometimes we're just either not in the right setting or not in the right headspace to enjoy a movie. So that's why it's important to give it some rewatches as long as you aren't, vehemently hating it or something like that. But if you're just kind of not sure about it, give it another chance and see if you like it. And I really think that the most recent time that I rewatched this one, it just finally clicked for me, and I really enjoyed it quite a bit. So in this one, we are set in a mining town, and that's pretty much what everyone does for work in this movie. And they have not been celebrating Valentine's Day for a while due to the fact that on Valentine's Day, many years before, there was a cave-in the mine, and it was due to some supervisor's negligence, and only one person survived from that incident. And now they have decided that it has been long enough and they're going to start celebrating Valentine's Day again. And with that coming up, they are starting to have some weird things happen and some people start dying. So I think that this one is a lot of fun. I really enjoy the look of the miner as the killer. I think it's just an iconic but still kind of underrated one at the same time. And I really like the incorporation of Valentine's Day here. It feels very cool. I really like the different, 80s styled decorations that they have throughout this and stuff. But there are some pretty gross things in this as well. Um, and I think that it's a really fun one, and I'm glad that I'm finally more positive toward it. So the next one I want to talk about, we just have to talk about the remake of My Bloody Valentine. So this one I'm not really going to explain because it's, pretty well the same thing. But this one, I think the main draw is Jensen Ackles. He is just, a really popular name, and this was more in the height of Supernatural's popularity when this one came out. And, that show has become just absolutely huge and has remained such an important part of pop culture, even years after it being over with. But I think that him being in it was just a huge draw. He is just a really likable actor, and he brings something cool to this role for sure. And this one is a lot more gratuitous with the violence and the sexual content, but I think that that's just a common thing for, 2000s horror movies at, that time where it's getting close to 2010. Um, and they just all kind of felt cheap and stuff like that back then. But, it's a fun one. I think that it is entertaining as well. I like watching both of these ones. And I did see this one first, so I think that could be another reason that it took me a while to get into the original one, because I've seen that happen with some other things as well. And I do have to say, I actually did watch this one on, I don't even know what you call them, just like the not flat screen TVs, like a fat back TV. And I watched it in 3D, and I guarantee I got sick from that experience. I think I remember being horribly dizzy after that, but it was just such a odd point in time seeing movies like that. I'm glad that they have definitely improved 3D going forward. But the next one that I want to talk about is Hard Eyes. And this one is the most recent Valentine horror movie. And I think that it is a lot of fun. It is about a town that is worried about the threat of the Hard Eyes killer, who has been kind of traveling around different locations, but he's very close to where they are. and no couples are really safe. So we have our main character who is worried about her job after her performance in like a commercial that they were doing for the company. And she had had a meet cute with this really cute guy earlier on in the film, and then she finds out that he is her new boss. And she has to go to dinner with him, and it feels kind of like a date, but it's also a work kind of situation. And they are out on that date together, and they happen to see her ex, and she wants to make him jealous, so she ends up kissing her boss. And by doing so, they kind of show their chemistry to the Hard Eyes Killer. And I think that this one is just a super fun watch. I think that the comedy that they put in there really works. Um, I do think that the it's kind of obvious who is under the mask to a certain extent, but it doesn't hurt it for me or anything. Side note, I think it's very strange that, Mason Gooding is in this one and he's in the more recent Scream films, but he is in both of those, and they both have jokes about Hobbs and Shaw, which is just so obscure. I watched both of those pretty quickly in succession because I was binging all of the Scream franchise, and then I just watched Hard Eyes the other day, and I'm like, oh, that's so strange that they're doing a joke about that in both of these movies. But the last one that I want to talk about is Valentine. So this one is definitely my favorite. It is my must watch for Valentine's Day every year. I have a great time with this one. So we have a group of girls who have been friends for a very long time, since they were young. And there's an incident at the very beginning of the movie where they are at a middle school dance, I believe, at Valentine's Day. And all of the group of friends turn down this nerdy boy, some of which are nicer about it than others. But it ends up leading to him getting into this kind of traumatizing incident, and it definitely messed up his psyche a little bit, to say the least. And now they are all adults, and they have to try to figure out what is going on when some of their numbers start to dwindle, and they start getting all these very creepy Valentine cards in the mail. But I think that this one is a lot of fun. It's very cheesy with the early 2000s horror vibes, but I really love that kind of thing. And this is probably the first Valentine horror movie that I had ever seen. I think the next one would have been the My Bloody Valentine remake, but I think this one definitely beat it by a few years because I remember watching it so much. And yeah, it is absolutely the one that I have to watch if I'm only going to want to watch one Valentine horror movie. It's definitely this one. But like I said, I want to know your thoughts on Valentine's Day horror down in the comments. Do you agree with the ones that I put on here, or do you like some other ones more? Leave me those recommendations because I would love to check out some of the ones that you guys like. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it. Consider subscribing if you haven't yet for more horror content. I do post 2 new videos each week. You can follow me on Instagram for updates on my channel, as well as additional horror content. You can also follow me on Letterboxd to see what I have been watching lately and my brief thoughts on any of those films. If you would like either of those, they are linked in my channel description for easy access for you guys. I want to say thank you to everyone who has been supporting my channel so far. It doesn't go unnoticed. My name is Devin. This is Carpenter Hill. Thanks for watching.